Hopefully this doesn't put you on the spot, but because this is like a road trip movie, the albums that you two share together is a key component of the narrative itself. Did this movie get you thinking like what albums you would pick for like a road trip with either, a best friend or someone maybe you didn't even really know?
That's a really good question. Gosh, I'm going to come up with an answer at 2 a.m. because there's so many. What would you choose?
I was thinking about this. I was like, is she gonna turn it back around on
Yeah.
me? I tried to think. I was like, well, I want to get some Bruce Springsteen. So which Bruce Springsteen? I want to get probably Darkness on the Edge of Town. I might do Boris Bobby Pickett's Monster Mash album, just for
Okay.
some
Yeah.
fun.
Some
Uh,
heavy metal as well. I might throw that one in there for
Yeah,
fun.
that's as far as I got. So, I appreciate you humoring me. And if I get an email at 2 in the morning with just a list of albums, I won't
I'll
I
send
won't
it.
be
It'll
confused.
be a long list too.
Great. Now with this movie, since the dynamic between your two characters is obviously intrinsic to selling the whole emotional journey, but also a key component is the fact that you don't really know each other all that well. So
Yeah.
how did prep on this movie compare to prep on other projects? Did you try not to prep all that much so that the getting to know each other was a bit more organic and came through on screen?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's twofold because we hopped into this really, really fast. And I think that was helpful because there wasn't a lot of prep time. And me and Takahiro, it was his idea, but he was like, what if we don't meet until the first scene? Because we filmed the first scene first. We were able to film that in order, which was really fun because he's, standing away from me in his cool trench coat. Um, and then meeting him, I was nervous because he's a phenomenal actor. I had just watched Shogun twice, and he's very cold in that show. So I was like, ooh, let's see. And he's just the kindest. He's such a sweet, sweet person, and he's calm. He's got this really steady atmosphere about him, which just helps me, helps everyone on set. It just brings this really nice, calm presence. Yeah.
It- and this project makes it feel almost exciting to get a message saying, let's maybe not meet until we start shooting. Whereas most other projects, that might be a bit of a red flag of like,
Yeah. Well, I think
don't you want to grab a drink, get to know each other?
exactly. And I think, if you're playing siblings or if you're playing best friends, that is definitely the time to hang out. I've done that when I've played characters who do have siblings. We'll do a lot of work together, even physicality, getting used to punching each other, hugging each other. But in this case, they are strangers, and so I think it was very helpful to go in that route. And then Brian, led us where he wanted us to go emotionally and all of that.
Well, the premise of the movie involves, being able to create like a digital avatar and that someone can kind of live on beyond their physical body. And I couldn't help but think like how in a way, even just you, Sydney, as a performer, part of yourself is in this movie. And this movie is going to exist indefinitely, like 100 years, 200 years from now, people are going to be able to like see a version of Sydney that they never got to experience in real life. I just wondered like how you felt about those parallels between like obviously that's a very absurd like sci-fi idea, but it doesn't feel too much different from just like acting in movies or in TV.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question. Because I remember watching uh Don't Worry, Darling, and it was the first time I realized because we'd filmed that, a year and a half before it came out, and I was like, oh, this is about watching your past. And it brings up so many memories, and it's, when a movie comes out, I think the general population is like, oh, they just filmed it and now it's out, it's immediate, but it is looking back on a former your former self, and also seeing how you react. I've never sat and watched myself get angry or watched myself break down. I hope people don't do that. And so it brings you into yourself. It's very nerve-wracking, to be honest. But it is really cool in that way too. I think that's the beauty of art is it does, it lasts longer than the artist.
Well, and whether it be just like the professional experience or the relationships you built on set, or just like what you were reflecting on in your own personal life about how similar or different it is to Anima, what was your biggest just personal takeaway once you left set, once you walked away from this project? Like, what was it about it that stuck with you?
Just the making of it. I mean, because I haven't done an independent film before, and it was very brass tacks. It was a very young crew, young production, young PAs, a lot of people doing first time. And I've never been able to work with that before. And so I just enjoyed the hell out of that. There's movement and you're working a lot on location, and then location changes. So let's change the scene, and you're just rolling with it. And it's a very different experience than doing, Alien or Don't Worry. It was just really fun. It was really, really fun.
Well, in between this movie and Alien, you've done projects involving AI and what it means to be human and like what all of this stuff defines. And Hollywood, of course, is not just narratively, but from a production standpoint, is really embracing AI in any ways possible, even though they don't necessarily know how to best use this stuff.
Yeah.
And just wondered, like, since you're bringing these narratives to life, like how you feel, just like as a performer, seeing Hollywood embrace AI so heavily in all the good or bad impacts of that.
I mean, watching the entire world um, allow it in, and the speed of that. As a sci-fi lover, I've read all of those books where you're like, this is interesting territory. I believe sci-fi to an extent, it tells the future. It's been right so far. And so, it's I can go down that rabbit hole, but I actually heard someone talking about it, and it made me feel like there's a silver lining where he was saying, this is a new media. This is a new form of film. And if we use it correctly, there can be some really beautiful artistry that comes out of it. And I hadn't thought of it that way before. Going from black and white to color was massive. And there's something that could be beautiful in that way. My thing is keeping the humanity, because I think art is art when there are human mistakes involved. And that is one thing AI cannot do. It doesn't, falter. It doesn't have someone trip over themselves in a scene. It doesn't allow for improv. And so I think that will keep humans creating art, hopefully forever and ever.
Well, I know, you haven't started shooting Alien season 2 yet. I know you can't really talk about anything. I know you haven't even gotten complete scripts yet. So you know slightly more than I do. But the big question I've been wondering since season 1, could Wendy defeat a predator?
I don't know. I think there's I mean, we'd have to try. I think she would believe she could. Absolutely. But I think she's still figuring out her strengths. And that's the beauty of it. It's like kids are so brave. They don't think of consequence. And that is a superpower. And that can also be a weakness. So, I mean, that would be really fun to see. I'd love to play that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's why I felt safe asking it because I doubt there's any predators showing up in season 2, so it's a little bit
Not that
more.
I know of.
But still, even not knowing fully how, season 2 pans out, do you have personal hopes of what you get to explore as Wendy in season 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many ways for her to grow and change, and we really watched her go from innocence to more her eyes are open and she's kind of accepted the machine. She's gotten colder. And so I'd like to warm her up again, and see where that takes her after your innocence is lost. And then playing, more with the equality and differences of the creatures, because she is the only one of her kind, and she is alien in her own form. And so there's a really interesting space there to experience that, and maybe play with the fear involved, or the danger involved, because they're kind of equal. It's like the predator question. Yeah, I don't know where she stands, and she doesn't know. So we haven't gotten scripts yet, but just talking about it a little bit, Noah's great at giving riddles. So, I've been biting at the bit to get scripts, but yeah, those are my hopes for it though. But I trust him. We were able to bring in Peter Pan and it worked, so wherever he goes with it, I'm game.
Sydney, I really appreciate you taking the time. With Alien, I visited the set,
Oh,
in
did you?
2024, and then to wait so much time to finally get to see it was so exciting, and to get to see you in this film, a different type of sci-fi, was really exciting as well. So congrats on all the success, and good luck at the premiere.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm going to be ruminating on my music choices.
Oh, okay, I'll keep my eyes out for that. If you have to wait until after the premiere, I fully understand.